Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 18 of 2019. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can tweet me at The Public Dog, and you can tweet us at The Odds Breakers. The NCAA tournament is rolling, and we are into the Sweet 16. This podcast is being sponsored by MyBookie.ag. For a 100% first-time sign-up bonus, please visit MyBookie and use the promo code TheOddsBreakers. Terms and conditions apply. If you'd like to help us out with our costs, be a sponsor. We would love to help you out. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com. Become a member for $12.99 a month. You'll get my picks and premium picks before the line moves. For $2 more, you can have all of that and become a patron subscriber. Get our podcast a little bit early. And if nothing else, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a free picks newsletter subscriber. Well, I got to tell you, there is a lot of news out there before we get into our March Madness NCAA tournament betting. We have a great show for you today. Mr. Tom Kolpien is back to help us break down the Sweet 16. But first, I would like to get into some news here because there's some big news. The NFL has made their rule changes for 2019. How you like that? We're going to quick go over it with you. Now, obviously, the owners make a lot of these decisions. They're influenced by lots of outside influences. Sean Payton was extremely vocal in the pass interference one. You have to remember, too, though, these owners are the same ones that have created so many arbitrary rules that created the problem of officials missing things and more needed replay to fix the game. So it's hard to put a ton of faith into these people, to be honest with you. But that doesn't matter. We are stuck watching the NFL. It is currently the monopoly. And let's go over what has changed. So pass interference is now reviewable. Are you kidding me? I was saying that had to be fixed for a very long time. And now they're like, let's now review it. I mean, after just years and years of complaining. Not that it's great, because it still slows down the game when you review things. I think an eye-in-the-sky official would have been much better to do this, but they're going to go by coaches' challenges. I don't know why they push down the eye-in-the-sky official, because I think it would speed up a ton of different things. I think, they would get it right without having the officials have to run up to a monitor and kind of rethink everything. So I don't know why they're so against that, but maybe they're just not ready for it. But the important thing is that the most costly penalty that changes the game is now reviewable. And because of Sean Payton and everything he had to say, the non-calls are reviewable as well. As a matter of fact, this was voted. It was passed at 31-1. Only one team voted against this. It was probably the Rams or maybe the Patriots. But basically, this is good news, because even though it slows the game, you're finally saving the integrity. I mean, for crying out loud, you had the wrong teams in the Super Bowl. Okay, well, at least one of the teams was wrong. But that whole roughing the passer penalty on Tom Brady didn't make it any easier on the Chiefs. But as far as the pass interference, I think this is a huge win for fans. My biggest problem, though, is are they going to call offensive pass interference with all the push-offs you see? When you see some of the elite receivers out there pushing off and extending their arm to the defender 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards before the ball is there to get that little extra space to catch the ball, is that going to be challenged a ton? I don't know. But as far as that, if that's the case, you're going to see a lot more offensive pass interference called. That's my whole take on the thing. But the past 3 seasons, defensive pass interference has costed teams about an average of 15.2 yards per call. You've seen it up to 60 yards plenty of times. These fouls total 9% of all penalties, but because of the yardage involved, they represent 70% of the penalties with the largest impact in the game. Okay, they extremely changed the win probability statistics. So what you've been watching and betting on in the NFL, pass interference represented 70% of penalties with the largest impact on the league's internal version of the win probability statistics. So basically what you've been betting is pretty much on pure crap. It's what this has been telling you because of how broken this rule was. But this is exciting that it's actually being fixed. Yes, the game's going to slow down because they won't go with the eye in the sky official. But I'm actually really happy they did this. Secondly, they proposed this whole 4th and 15 instead of a onside kick. Now, I was really against this, and I thought it was completely stupid because that just demeans the whole thing the other team accomplished by winning the whole game until the end. Why would you just allow them to go 4th and 15 and just completely change the game on one play, and win? That's a little silly to me. They shot it down, which I'm kind of glad because that's not good enough. I think maybe if you're going to have to go down that road, it would have to be more 4th and 30. And that's the whole cool thing about the onside kick in the first place is that it's so hard to get. The problem with the league is that now they said that you can't stack a bunch of people on the end, which made onside kicks even harder. So, in my opinion, I say just allow the defense to move as many players as they want on one side, but you have to onside kick it. Means the ball has got to touch the ground before 10 yards or whatever you want to call it. I think that would be interesting if they did that. But I'm just glad they shot this down because it demeans the whole rest of what they did during the game. Imagine if you're a fan and you're, let's just say you're a Chiefs fan and they're playing the Chargers and they're up by 6 and they busted their butt the whole game to be up by 6, and all of a sudden the Chargers get a 4th and 15 to win the game at the end of the game, and then all of a sudden they drive and make a touchdown. How pissed off would you be? I think it's a little silly to have that. Maybe if you're going to go down that route, make it 4th and 30 or something like that. So that's what the main changes were. They also voted to eliminate blindside blocks, meaning if someone's kind of running and not paying attention to you and you nail them and just flatten them, that's gone. I'm surprised they didn't take that away a long time ago, and they did now. So hopefully they accomplish what they're trying to do. But at the same time, I hope if you can still put your hands on someone and block them, even though it's a blind side, instead of launch at them. To keep the integrity of kickoffs and what goes on during the game. That's what I'm actually hoping for. The last thing is that the NFL voted to allow the officiating department to eject players for flagrant football fouls from New York, the command center. Previously, they could do it for players like throwing punches and fights, but now they can do it for some serious flagrant fouls, launching, eye gouging, whatever you want to call it. But that's not too big of a change right there that affects the game. Speaking of the NFL, I'd like to go a little bit into what the Cardinals are doing here. Now, I want to first reiterate, and I can't remember if I said this before on a previous podcast, but the Cardinals are absolute morons. And they got first pick of the draft, and here's why. They hire a coach the Bidwells, Michael Bidwell, gave this coach hopes, after Bruce Arians left, and to coach this awful team that they put together with no real quarterback, a rookie drafted in Josh Rosen, a terrible offensive line, running back David Johnson coming back from injury, and a defense that a lot of their star players left, and then they fired their coach. Okay, that's stupid. But what's really stupid is the fact that they draft Josh Rosen, they fire the coach that might fit Josh Rosen, and then they go and hire a coach that's completely different than Josh Rosen and Cliff Kingsbury that looks for more rollout type quarterbacks, a little bit more speedy. They can run. They have the option to run. And that's really not Josh Rosen. That's a pocket passing type. Rosen's a pocket passer. So Cliff Kingsbury is now, he was a Patrick Mahomes type guy, right? You saw his quarterbacks. They were very fast, RG3, type guys, maybe a little bit more accurate. I don't know. But now you have his style of offense, and I'm not sure that Rosen really fits, So the big question is, are they going to draft Kyler Murray? Well, that's pretty much of a waste of what you did last year and traded up to get Josh Rosen. And that's why the Cardinals are so completely deranged that they don't even know what they're doing, from year to year. But now the big thing is, are they going to draft Kyler Murray? Are they going to trade Josh Rosen? You're not going to get nothing better than the third or second round, but I would say third round pick for Josh Rosen. Complete waste without you even knowing what you're doing. And then you're looking at a Kyler Murray that's barely 5'10" on his tiptoes. He's super fast, but super small. He showed great at Oklahoma. Oklahoma had some serious players. He didn't show like he was Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield made a lot of plays last year, and Kyler Murray made a lot of plays with his feet last year due to amazing blocking and, lots of time in the pocket and lots of options to make a decision to run. And I mean, you're talking about Big 12 defenses here. Now, don't get me wrong, Kyler, it could still be a very good quarterback. I could be wrong. They compare him to Russell Wilson, but taking that risk on someone so small that can't see over the line, that likes to run, can get beat up in the NFL. This is where your linebackers are running 4.4, 4.5. You're 260-pound guys. I'm not so sure if that's a good fit. The hash marks in the NFL is more together than it was in college. It's a different game, and it's a much faster game. So why would you waste your first pick on him when you did this with Josh Rosen? So and like I said, you got to find a quarterback that fits your coach. But I'm not so sure you take that risk right away with Kyler Murray. I think you trade down, get some trenches, get a pass rusher, and possibly another lineman, and then see what you can get later. You can have a quarterback that's maybe a little bit more of a project. Someone else that might fit Cliff Kingsbury's style of coaching. I mean, maybe you take a chance on a Trace McSorley. You can get probably in the fourth round. He won more games than Dwayne Haskins and Kyler Murray combined in college. You saw the kid's a gamer. He's a winner. He's very fast on his feet. He's taller than Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray had the best team around him. I've always said I don't love going so high on quarterbacks with such great teams around you. I mean, most of Oklahoma was the same team except a year older that Baker had. Okay? They just got a lot better. So, that's my 2 cents on the Cardinals situation. But I'll tell you, they're completely dysfunctional with their decision-making, and I want to just quick go over that. All right, let's get into the bracket, man. I've never seen anything like this where their top 14 teams on KenPom are all in the Sweet 16. The top 14, 1 through 14, nothing in the middle. They all got through the first round. That's crazy, And then the next one is number 19 LSU, and the next is number 28 Oregon. I mean, this is absolutely insane how